G'day folks, the point of this video is to remind you that SEO does not need to be perfect. So you don't need to be 10 out of 10 with SEO to beat your opposition. And the second purpose of the video is to give you some ideas on how to get backlinks to your website, which will help you to beat your opposition online, usually. Okay, so the disclaimer is that this stuff is all relative to what your opposition is doing. And that's really the crux of hybrid SEO. The crux of hybrid SEO is you just need to beat the opposition. So if you ran 9 seconds flat for 100 meters, you would win the Olympic gold medal. You would also win that gold medal if you ran 5 seconds, but 9 will do. So that's kind of the point. Also, it's kind of like Google Ads, which is a bidding competition. Sometimes you might only need to spend 50 cents per click to be the highest bidder for that phrase. Why would you spend $10 per click? So we're going to talk about 10 methods in this video that will help you. I'm just going to run through some of this stuff to remind you, again, why it's important. You know, SEO or ranking up the top of Google and or ChatGPT, for example, is the best. So whatever your niche is, if you're in front of your opposition all the time, it's the best because you get phone calls, you get contact, and you get the business that you're after. Okay, so again, this point here, you don't have to be perfect. Now, I'm not saying this to allow mediocrity. I'm pushing this hybrid SEO phrase because it's what we do in the real world, and we do that because why charge somebody $5,000 a month for this stuff if you can charge way less and still get them the business result that they want? So, you know, if you could train physically 1 hour a day to get perfect at what you want, why would you do 5 hours per day? It's kind of the same idea. Now, the next line here is important too. When we do this work for a client, let's say a business engages us to beat their opposition on Google, we will figure out what niche they're in and the most important phrase for them and where they are. Then we'll figure out who is currently winning that, and we will figure out what to do to beat them. Very often, once you've got the website under control, it's technically good, you've got the right content, Google can see all of that stuff, it then becomes the game of backlinks. And often it's only a few, like 2 to 3 good backlinks per month often is enough. In lots of the trades and services, it could be 1 or 2 good backlinks per month to win. Alternatively, you know, there are niches out there where it's really, really hard to win and you're actually better off not even bothering and doing paid traffic. And we would tell you that if you asked us. We would say, hey, don't bother trying to win that phrase. It's going to cost you 5 years of your life. Just do the paid ads instead. But for this video and this resource, these are useful ideas to get to the backlinks. So these ideas are really good. They're not super hard to do. Okay, so none of these are brain surgery. They just take a little bit of work to get them done. So we'll get into those in a second. Just a quick reminder, backlink is when one website links back to your website. That's all it is. So you get stuff over here on somebody's website that links to you. That's a backlink. Okay, so below we've got 10 types and a few examples as well. We could do a million examples, but you need to take each of these and think, okay, are these useful for me? Can I get one of these? Does this apply to me? Because don't think you have to do all 10 of these in the subcategories of each. You don't. You just need to find a few that win. Okay, let's get into it. So, and of course at the bottom, you can get in touch with us however you need to get in touch with us to ask for our help. We have free options. We have paid options. We would like you to win. So keep that in mind. So editorial backlinks, these are, you know, when you're mentioned somewhere, like in a news article or a blog post and you're mentioned. So the easiest way to get this type of stuff going on is simply to be an expert in your field. Publish content, talk about your topic, write stuff and be an expert so people know that you're an expert, and they might reach out to you, say, hey, could you put a comment here for us? Would you add some advice on this article? Could we interview you? Could we talk to you? Okay, that's the idea there. Citations in research, so that might be that you've done something or you're known for something or you've published content about a thing and you get used as a citation, much like a scientific paper or an educational piece of content. Great example would be a family member of ours who was very prominent in the concrete industry, and over the years he amassed bodies of work, and that would often get linked back to him as people prepared further work in that field. So keep that in mind. Another common way that people do this these days is roundup posts. So a roundup post might be I might reach out to 10 marketing people that I know and say, hey, John, Jane, Fred, I'm writing an article about how to use ChatGPT to enhance your social media or whatever, and I'll get them to give me a snippet to add to the article. Okay, so that would be a resource that I would use. I'd publish that on my blog, and then these people would probably link back to it as well to say, hey, we got mentioned on this post, or we got featured here. Corey's blog trusted us to ask us about this thing. So, and really the key here is to build your network. Be active on LinkedIn, be active on Facebook, participate, give, help, give, and then let people know that you're available for comments. This is a very effective strategy in the right industries. So not for everybody, but for some it will be very good. And really, all you need to do is keep this on your mind. You know your topic, publish regularly, and you just never know who will seek you out. We've had clients who have been featured on national newspapers because they were well known in their space, and a journalist simply found them and said, can you comment on this? And of course they did. Okay. Very, very good thing to have. If you've been mentioned on a national level newspaper, that is epic. Here's a quick example from me. So Ryan is a guy I've known in the online space for a long time. He's got a very well-known blog, Blogging from Paradise. He's one of the primary blogging pioneers over the years. He's got tens of thousands of backlinks to his work because he's been so prolific. So the article below on his blog, this one here, links back. It's got my name. It links back to our website, which is really good. And it's also got the side benefit of been mentioned in the same paragraph as a well-known industry person in our industry, Neil Patel. So it's really useful for our trust, but the backlink itself is very useful. And that there was a classic example of know your topic and publish regularly. And over time, I got to know Ryan, and the backlink came through there, and that's a really useful backlink. So that really is editorial backlinks at the crux of it. Guest posts are another really easy win. So quick example, I wrote this article below for Jodine. She's another Kiwi marketer. I said, hey, Jodine, you're in the social media space. I'd like to write you an article about how social media can help with your SEO. And of course, she took that on. As it says here, the benefit is she gets new content for her website. Google likes that. I wrote it well to rank on Google, so she'll get traffic from Google and she'll get seen by Google. Then I get the backlink there and the trust factor as well by being associated with Jodine's brand. So Google likes that too, so we all win. So guest posts, it might be as simple as you might be a mechanic and you use the local tire shop and you say, hey, could we just write a quick article about why we use you? And you can stick it on your blog. It doesn't even have to be on the navigation menu of the blog. It can be on the site, but not linked to on the navigation bar. It can be that easy. But think of, what business are we friendly with and what could we write? Who could we write that for? Another one is the contextual links within the guest articles. So sometimes somebody might write an article and you can be featured within that article without writing the whole article, kind of like the industry roundup above. And then the other one is link insertions. So these ones are a bit harder. So there are people who will find these for you. You can pay them to track them down. We have a guy we use and say, hey, let's say you're a fitness trainer and you work in women's health. We would say, hey, John, go and track down blog articles in the women's health space where we can either somehow get via a link exchange or pay an insertion on aged posts. So aged blog posts or niche edits, they're also called, are very useful backlinks. Sounds difficult, but once you get used to the idea that you're helping them as well by adding something to them, it's not that difficult. Okay, let's go on. So guest posting, very useful. We have that in our workflow for all clients. We're constantly looking for opportunities to get these. They're quite handy. Okay, so these ones are pretty easy. Business profiles and directory backlinks. This is like day one. If you've got a website and a Google business profile, and you're in business, these ones are pretty obvious. As it says here, these are pretty obvious, easily obtained. You can't miss them. Okay, so your basics like Google business profile, Yelp, Yellow Pages, easy. The level below that might be niche directories, so like a plumbing directory or an electrician directory or a fitness trainer directory, a mortgage broker directory. Track those down. You might even have town specific. Like we're doing this week in our business. One of our contractors is looking for every single client we've got and looking and Googling and looking on ChatGPT for free business listing town. So whatever town that is, they're looking for free listings because often we've missed those. We've been looking at the bigger directories, but we've missed the local, I live in Tauranga, New Zealand. A Tauranga specific business directory will be very useful. So you track those down and get in those as well. These ones here as well, Chamber of Commerce, really useful, usually paid, but there's a lot of benefits from being there. Not just the backlink to they'll usually profile the business and they'll have your backlinks on that profile. It'll cost $100 or $200 usually per year to join them, but then you might get invitations to drinks or events or whatever, so you can meet people, collaborate with people. There's a lot of reasons to join your local Chamber of Commerce. In some instances, you're kind of mad not to. The trust factor is also quite big, and it is local. So if you're in a city, you service that city, you should be on that Chamber of Commerce. The trust factor is well worth it. Okay, so some of these are obvious. You just pay a fee. Some of them you just list it out. You can hire a VA or a contractor to build this for you. Pretty easy. Social and community backlinks. These again pretty obvious. LinkedIn personal profile. You've got an opportunity for backlink there. It's what's called a no follow backlink. There's do follow and no follow. I won't go into too much depth, but do follow links have more power in the eyes of Google. But the no follow links, like the LinkedIn profile links, Facebook links, they're gaining in popularity again because a lot of us suspect that the AI search models are using them more. So build out your social media profiles, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. You don't need to use them all the time, but build them out, have your content, make it obvious what you do, where you serve, and get that backlink. And then these ones here have become the darlings again in the last few years as Google search and AI search have changed their results quite a lot. People are noticing that Reddit, for example, and Quora, and even Facebook groups are in there as well. Be there, and you'll get backlinks to your brand by being there, and you'll have a Reddit profile and a Quora profile, and there's opportunities in there for links to you as well. The content-based backlinks, I really love these. Probably my favorite two would be an infographic, so something really cool that people share. So you might build up some industry news data as an infographic, or you might build a interesting image that's got something to do with your industry, or a how-to, something showing people how to do a thing, and that becomes the incumbent go-to all around the internet. That would be really cool. Those are great. It doesn't suit every business, but it can suit some businesses. Anything that's physical, like anything sort of trade related, there's opportunities there. Backlinks inside of YouTube descriptions are also useful. If you can get on a podcast, loads of people are getting on podcasts now for the exposure, but also for the backlinks that come about in the description of that podcast and the transcription. And this one down here is probably my favorite. If you can build an ultimate guide for a thing, let's say you're a mechanic that services diesel trucks, and you can build the ultimate guide to servicing your diesel truck at home, that would be awesome. People would find it. You gain so much trust. People would link back to it. That's awesome. And then often they would try and do it themselves and stuff it up and come to you as a client as well. So that's a really good opportunity there is building guides, ebooks, white papers. That's just another word for like a small essay. Give people stuff. Okay. Information now is pretty much free. People can find anything. So get it out there, make it better, improve it, add some images, add small videos, make it really good so that people come and link to you, but also seek you out to help with that stuff. The next one, the 6 of the 10, hang around, not too long to go, a resource and reference backlinks. So a resource page inclusion, if you can get on somebody else's website as a recommended tool or resource, that's really useful. Okay, so I work hard to build networks in my space, and quite often I'll collaborate with somebody and we'll link back to each other and have this sort of an opportunity there as a recommended person, recommended tool. People might recommend one of my Gumroad courses, or they might just link back to our site and say, talk to Corey about this stuff. Once you've been around your industry and your niche for a while, this should get easy. So just make sure you're proactive and shaking hands with people, in real life and virtually, so you can get onto some people's resource pages. Really useful. Further reading links as well. So think about an article that's got further reading down the bottom. And you might want to do that in a three-way link exchange too. So you and two other business owners might all shout out the next person in the three-way exchange as a further reading type of thing. So the mechanic might refer the tyre person might refer the car detailer, that sort of stuff. So get a little bit creative there because it's all useful, and it's a great recommendation as well as a great backlink as well. Okay, so have a think about that one. Number 7 is outreach. So this is more like, I've said relationship based as well. So collaborating with somebody, like talking to a person with a fairly decent following. The word influencer is used. That might be a way you can describe it. So talk about what you can do with somebody and get a backlink from that. Can you give them some product and have a discussion about the thing? That might be a way. Can you do an expert interview? So maybe you interview somebody in your niche about their product or something that they've done that's interesting, or some new news. Write it up, and they'll probably backlink to that as well because it's good for them. Testimonials and case studies you provide to associated businesses. So this one is more like, think of a Google review or just any type of review you might leave as a person. What if you're doing that for businesses that you've worked with? So you might just reach out, and rather than a whole guest post, just say to somebody in the business space you're linked with in any way, say, can I leave you a written testimonial on your website, which is good on its own. The Googles and ChatGPTs, etc., will find that. They'll see the name, they'll see the brand, they'll pick it up. But if you also get a backlink, kind of like you'll see at the top of a blog article, there's usually a by someone's name, and then it links to their website or their LinkedIn or something. That's really useful too. So think about how that might apply to your business. Again, think if you're a bike shop, you might write a quick testimonial about the tires that you use or whatever, which would add significant power to your brand, but also a really good backlink to your business. Press and PR. So a press release, you've probably heard of press releases. It's got to be noteworthy. There are various levels of press releases. There's the kind of obvious press releases that aren't really noteworthy. They're just a bit of an advertorial, really. That's quite common. But then if you've got an actual, like a business merger, or you've hired a significant person, or something significant in your business has occurred that is noteworthy, talk to local journalists. The next thing I've got down here from our area is Sun Live, which is a local newspaper. They'll pick up this stuff all the time, and sometimes it'll go up the chain to bigger publications too. So press releases are useful. Media mentions. Look, these might be similar sort of stuff. It's got to be notable. It's got to be newsworthy. That might get onto a Facebook page for a magazine, but eventually it might get found by other people and linked back to. It's amazing what happens when you leave a footprint on the internet. Sometimes, this sort of stuff is just building that footprint on the internet. It's pretty useful. There are a few ways you can do this as well that are sort of paid, semi-paid, bit of hard work. Help a reporter out. That's a site that we've used quite a lot over the years, where journalists will say, hey, I'm writing an article about XYZ. If you're an expert, I'd love to talk to you. It's hard work. So sometimes you might put in 20 submissions and only get one backlink, but that can be really useful too. However, it is a bit of a graft. The other one that we use, which is now owned by the same people, is featured.com. So that's similar sort of idea. You'll go to their dashboard and they'll have a whole bunch of people looking for expert comments. It's actually pretty good because you can use that for free to a certain degree. And we've had more success with featured.com compared to Haro this year. So that's really useful. I quite like that one. It's pretty cool. Example here is Kenrick. He has a business that has a variety of things going on. But look at this. It's not a press release. It's a newsworthy article. So, in this instance, he's done something and the local paper has picked it up. And if you Google this guy and his business, he's picked up by quite a few news agents now in terms of papers, Facebook pages, that sort of thing. So really useful thing to do. Just try and think, how can we... Some people have been in business for a long time, do this really well. Doesn't matter what job they go to, what business they turn up in. They're really good at sort of milking the media for outreaches and mentions. I mean, even world leaders do that, don't they? The next one is government and educational backlinks. So this is event sponsorships are in there, university scholarship program pages, research project mentions, NGOs, charity sponsorships, government projects you might have worked on. So a quick example, Tumara Energy, they do solar power. They could offer up a university research position or an internship, or even build a power system for a charity in New Zealand. The backlink from that and the trust from that would be quite epic. So that's something. We promote this for all of our clients. We always say to our clients, what can you sponsor? What can you offer up? Can you offer up an internship? Can you offer up a program at a school? Can you mow the lawn of a local school and get a backlink on their suppliers page or something like that? There's all sorts of ways to do this, but the reason we're big on it is because the power of a government or an educational facility backlink is immense. So if you got, for example, in New Zealand, a backlink from Auckland University to your business, which would be hard, but you could do it, that's really, really useful. So just think of it in that regard. In the last of the 10, thanks for sitting through the video. I know it's long, but winning in business is hard and it takes work and it takes time. So creative backlinks. So for example, blog comments. Way back in the early years of SEO, you could just go and comment on people's blogs all over the show and get backlinks to your website, and Google would love you and you'd rank higher. It was so easy. There's been a gazillion Google updates since then, and basically that stopped working. Okay. But if you look at Reddit now, so when you search Google for many topics now, you will see that a Reddit discussion will pop up very high, or a Quora, Facebook groups, etc. So we feel like blog comments are becoming more important, especially as AI search takes over. And ChatGPT is sourcing their information a little bit differently to Google. So if you're reading stuff, it doesn't hurt to comment if it's in your niche and you've got some value to add. Okay. This creative backlink section could go on forever. I've just got a few methodologies. If you join our paid group, I help you think of this stuff for yourself. If you become a client, we'll do it for you. Even in our free Facebook group, we talk about this stuff a little bit, so get there too. The free Web 2.0s, so Substack, which I use. This is on Substack. Blogger was another one, WordPress, the free version, medium.com. So those places, usually the links are no follow, which means in theory, Google doesn't pay much attention to them, but most of the backlink analyzers we use do pick them up. So they are being seen, they are useful. And sometimes if somebody is new to this whole SEO, get found on Google, hybrid SEO thing, I'll kind of describe SEO as just adding digital weight, or building a great big spider with lots of connections and links, adding weight. So a comment on medium.com, a comment on a blogger page or a Substack, it's useful. It all helps. I guess it comes down to how much time do you want to invest in this stuff. And the crux of hybrid SEO is do the highest impact stuff. But we know that you only need several of these per month to win. So you might have to commit an hour a month to this stuff and you'll win. Wikipedia edits. Now, this is almost not worth putting on. Wikipedia is obviously an amazing high authority website. We all know that. Okay, you Google anything, Wikipedia is there. But it's hard to get on Wikipedia. There are people who sell the service. I've investigated this a lot in the last couple of years. But usually to get on Wikipedia, it's you or your business has to be of public interest. Okay, of public interest. You can't just be a local car yard and expect that you'll get a link on Wikipedia. But if you were a business that had created some amazing new technology, or there's a historical mention of your business, that would be useful. Okay, so Wikipedia, good, hard. Broken backlinks. So what this means is we would go to the top dog for a client. So let's say we've got client A who's trying to beat business B. We would look at the backlinks business B has on the SEO tools out there and see if any of those links are broken, okay, or any mentions of their business are broken. And we would work with the business owner who owns that website, if possible, to replace that with our link. It's difficult, but it's worth it. And this last one, redirect backlinks, that's a bit of a tricky one. Essentially, you pay somebody to find or you can do it yourself if you've got time, to find old domains, so business websites or websites that used to exist but now don't. And if there's an opportunity to buy that and then get the backlinks which might still exist to redirect to your website, that could be a thing. Now, just want to add a quick example here for Jeremy. He is like an exit advisor, business broker, help people maximize the value of their business type of guy. Now, he could look at this idea up here, the comments. This is just something I found on Reddit as I was preparing this. So Reddit's got so many discussions. He could go in there and just start adding value in the topics that he knows about. That's it. And his name, his website will start to get found by Google and the AI searches, and he will win. So that's sort of how you would do that. Okay. So if you need help with this stuff, bunch of links, you'll see them on the video. Just track us down. If you need some help, just find us, ask us, and we'll help you. Hopefully that has helped you. Hopefully you can do some of that stuff and it'll help you to win on Google. And yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that like button and we'll talk soon. Bye for now.